So yeah, this time we have quite a lot more partners joining the call. I mean, like the last time we had something like 20 registrations, and this time we have something like 40 plus. Some of them obviously are our employees as well, but yeah, this time it's going to be a lot more interested parties.
And this is all about integrations and things on this one.
Yep.
Good. Okay.
Probably the technical stuff you.
The what? Sorry.
I'm saying it's the technical stuff you like, as far as I remember. You were deep into technical things, so.
Yeah, all interesting things.
I'm seeing my background is cutting my ears and cutting some part of my head, so it's very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still working mostly from home. I mean, like something like 40% capacity of the offices is used, and all of the rest of the people are working from home. So me and Andris are currently in totally different parts of Latvia. So normally we work in the office in Riga. Now we are from the countryside. So hopefully the internet connection is good there.
Yeah. Same for me. I'm working from home. And you can see I'm in countryside too.
Great, all green.
Yeah, green everywhere.
Hi, Robin.
Hey guys, and Adam is with me today.
Awesome.
A PR guy.
Great. How many people have joined?
Sorry?
Probably you see the numbers correctly. I mean, how many people have joined right now?
It's something like 12. So I think we will. Yeah, but it's still not 3. So we'll have to wait for a couple of minutes before we start.
Yeah, as Ingus said, so expected to have more than 40 and about 20, 26, 27 countries. Hi, Timur. Yeah, so basically all over the world. So this time actually fits for everybody. It seems so. Yeah, again, guys, just want to remind you that feel free if you want to introduce yourself to everybody else using the chat section. If you have any questions, you can use the question and answer section later on. But basically, it's up to you if you want to reveal yourself, reveal your company, etc. If not, just feel free to listen and share your ideas in the chat section. So all good, as long as you want to say more than you can do it.
So yeah, and feel free to use this time before we actually have started to do some small talk and things like that. Just as we did with Miles just recently.
100%, yeah.
How's everyone this morning?
Well,
yeah, good, thanks.
Who has morning? Who has end of the day already?
Yeah.
Okay, lunchtime for me.
It's the end of the week here in Dubai, actually.
Good afternoon.
End of the week.
So yeah, it's 3 o'clock. We're still waiting for some participants to join. So far, we are 17. The idea of these meetings are more or less the same as we had previously, like last time. We will have some presentation from our side regarding the integrations. Some of the partners that we have are much more confident in this specific topic. Some of the partners are pretty fresh on some of the topics. So we'll just provide some, I would say, educational material so that so that everybody can get up to the level and understand what we're talking about. So yeah, then we'll have something like I don't know, maybe a 15-20-minute presentation with some examples and things like that. And then afterwards, we're open for discussion on the issues, the challenges, the strategies, and things like that, which is, I believe, the most important part of these calls, so that we can share the experiences in different markets and maybe some experience of one partner is somehow helping the other partners as well. So yeah, I think that we can start easily. We have 20 people joined. So and just to start up, we are two hosts. Andris, you can introduce yourself
Yeah.
for those of the partners who don't know you yet.
Yep. My name is Andris Dzilo. I'm the co-CEO at Mapon. I've been with Mapon since 2010. But probably I know most of you. Some of you I don't. So probably we'll meet you either here in Mapon when you visit us after COVID or at the exhibitions. So yeah, that's shortly about me.
Yeah, and as of me, I'm Ingus. I joined Mapon at 2014 as a CTO, and then at year 2016, we together with Andris started to lead the company, and still the roles are basically the same. Andris is more responsible for the sales part, the business part. I'm more responsible for the technical part, and due to the fact that I've been a developer myself for quite some years, I'm pretty confident in speaking very, very technical if there is a need for that. So we're going into the presentation, as I mentioned, and today's topic is integrations on why we integrate systems, what we integrate, and how we integrate them. And if you're looking into the agenda, then basically we'll today look into terminology. We'll look into types of integrations, whether it's hardware, software integrations. We'll look into what we have already made, what's available and ready for use, and what's still in progress. Last time, Emmanuel was asking about the roadmap, and the roadmap regarding the integrations is somewhat available and part of the presentation. Then we will get to the topic of why we integrate the systems and some of the case studies, and we will share some of our experience on how can we succeed with the integrations and the customers who we have integrated against some systems. Then on the end part of the meeting, we'll definitely have a Q&A, and the questions can be directed in any direction, whether it's between the partners to us, or we can even ask you the questions and things like that. So feel free to have an open discussion at the end. And finally, we have some ideas for the next meetings, and we'll get to that at the very end of today's event. So we still have some couple people joining. And
okay.
Yes, so 25 people.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with the basics, with the terms. Probably whenever a customer is telling you that, hey, I need to integrate this, you see some of the stuff that's on the presentation. I mean, like there's an API, there's a REST API, there's a pool API, there's JSON, XML, CSV, and lots of other stuff. The things that are important to understand that whenever something must be integrated, the parties that are integrating must agree on some of the stuff, on where the data is available, what is the data structure, and who will be the responsible for actually obtaining the data. And this is where we come to the first point. The API is actually application programming interface, which is a description of how the systems can exchange the data between themselves. Normally we are talking about integrations where some of the systems are pulling the data from the other system. So in this case, we're talking about the API that Mapon is providing for the partners, the documentation. And in some cases, we expect that the other party will pull out the data of Mapon system and insert it in some other external system. For example, if a customer has an internal system where he's willing to receive the routes of the Mapon platform, then he is pulling the data from the Mapon platform and putting it into the system. Then when we have an understanding of who is responsible for retrieving the data, then we can start discussing on the data formats. One thing is there are several standard data formats like JSON, XML, CSV. CSV probably is the easiest to understand, as just normally you understand that CSV files can be imported into Excel sheets, and then you can process the data and so on. So JSON and XML are formats that are used in programming languages, and this is just a matter of how the data is structured, how the other party will understand what's inside the data. Then obviously there is a concept of API key and authentication. Just like regular users are logging into some systems or applications, the integrations also should be logging in somehow. So this is the concept where if somebody asks you for an API key, then that's what you should be understanding, that this external system is willing to log into our system. Then the next one, the protocol, this is more connected to the hardware integrations, and whenever the hardware devices are trying to communicate, call it a protocol, that there's a specific set of information available, it's structured in a specific way, and this is how we can decode it and make use of it. Push API, if at the very beginning we were discussing the pull API, where the other party is pulling the data from our system, then the push API is basically opposite, that we are pushing the data to some external system. So this is the point where we can understand that, hey, what type of integration we are actually looking for. Is the customer willing to pull the data from our platform, or we are the ones responsible for pushing the data to the platform? And each of those methods have their own good things. For example, if we are actively pushing the data, then we can provide real-time information about what's happening with the fleet. For example, if we have an integration where the customer is willing to understand whether some specific vehicle has entered the geofence, then the only valid way of integrating that is us actively pushing an event that this vehicle entered this geozone, and this is when it happened. If the other party is trying to do that by pulling the data from our system, the questions they are asking is this vehicle currently in this geozone or not? And they are pulling and pulling and pulling and trying to understand and catch the moment when did that happen. So in terms of integrations, it's usually also the case that the integration like strategy should be considered based on the result to achieve. So this is where the complexity begins, and if somebody is asking you for an integration, then the first thing you should ask what's the goal and what's the integration about. So I will just mute somebody who is with the mic on. So yeah, then if you move forward, then MQTT is also a way of pushing actively the data to external systems. And if you see this abbreviation, then just understand that this is the same thing, us pulling the data or external system pulling the data. Then there is this Iframe, and this is a concept that you can include another web page inside your web page. So in this case, we can discuss it as an option that in the Mapon platform you can include an iframe of another application. And recently we have seen some partners doing some applications in our platform. And yeah, the idea is that there's an option in the Mapon application, include an iframe and display data from the other system. But in most cases, we still have the issue of authentication, just because all the external systems normally have authentication. And then it could be the case that you can open up an iframe and a different application inside the Mapon platform. But the problem is that the user would not be authenticated, and he would have to do authentication again. And finally, we have some experience with the partners using single sign-on solutions, which means that they have some internal authentication system in the company deployed, and they are willing to use the same usernames and passwords for authentication of their users in the Mapon platform. This is also possible, and this is mostly for the companies who are very big in size and have certain procedures implemented in the company to manage the employee onboarding and offboarding, so that they can make sure that they turn off access to all of the systems at once and not really try to check which employee had access to 20 different systems, and then try to log out them of each and every system. So enough of the terminology, and let's get to the next part. And usually when we are talking with partners, we are getting quite a few questions regarding the fact, hey, can we integrate X? And our usual answer is yes, but why? And what is the problem you will be solving? And this is a point that I would like each and everybody of you to take into mind, that each and every integration should be because of a reason and because of a valid reason. And in IT, there's a concept then everything can be done. It's just a matter of time and money and who will pay for that. So if we are doing integrations, then we should be thinking about whether it makes sense, whether there will be somebody who is ready to pay for that. And this is the thing that you should be keeping in mind for I would say the rest of your lives, or the rest of the time you spend in this business. So yeah, back to the theoretical part, types of integration, and there are three easy to understand types of integration. One is hardware integration, when it means that there are two or more hardware devices which are communicating with each other to achieve some goal. And examples of this are, for example, we have an integration with the Carrier and Thermo King reefer unit, and these are two separate hardware devices. We connect to the external hardware. We use a protocol to exchange information between the units, and then we can get some data from the reefer unit to provide to the customer. The same thing about the BLE sensor integrations that Teltonika devices have. You can easily use that, and that's fine. So yeah, hardware integrations, software integrations, normally that's data transfer between two separate software systems, again, to achieve some goal. And I'm again repeating the thing about the goal, just because we have seen quite a few cases when the customers are asking, hey, can you integrate these two systems? And when we ask why, then the answer is that somebody told me that it's cool. So yeah, again, it could be the case that we are transferring some data to the customer ERP system or some government system. We are using some external third-party SMS gateway to send out SMS messages from the Mapon platform. It could be quite a lot of different integrations. And then one of the Mapon specific or this business specific integrations is hardware to software integrations, which are actually like when the hardware device is integrated against the software system and is sending some data to the software system. And if you're looking into examples, then this is like any tracking device integration. for example, our own expert device integration, Teltonika device integration, Quecklink device integration, and things like that. So yeah, then we have quite a few ready-made integrations already. Most of you probably know about them, but I will just briefly go through them. These are the Carrier, Thermo-King, and now we are working on Lumico, reefer units integrations. Lumico is almost the same thing as Carrier and Thermo-King. It's a manufacturer from Finland. So basically those guys that are in Europe and are having Lumico representatives in their markets probably could be looking into this more deeply. Then of course we have this digital tachograph integration for the remote download and other live data retrieval. Of course we have fuel temperature sensor integrations, CAN FMS integrations, and then we have quite a few less known integrations like Secure Seal, Garmin integrations. Secure Seal is a security lock used in transport companies which are, for example, providing expensive goods transport like tobacco, alcohol, and things like that. And it's very important to understand that the seal has not been opened during the transit. Garmin integration, it's pretty old stuff. Before the smartphone era, there was a Garmin era where each and every truck driver was using a Garmin device, and then it was important to send messages and route coordinates to Garmin devices. But now, as of tablet and smartphone era, that's less used solution. Hall sensor is an option to detect rotational movement. We did the integration for Cemex, which is a concrete mixing company and a concrete transport company. But unfortunately, we haven't done any platform features for that, just because the project was put on hold. And then, of course, we have one-wire sensor integrations, BLE sensors, and quite a few of the things more. If we are looking into the ready-made software integrations, then this is something that's an, I would say, ongoing list of integrations that we have, and I would say that it's pretty hard for us to compile a full list of integrations that we have. But one thing that we have compiled is on the public website. We have quite a few integrations listed, so if you haven't done so yet, then feel free to check that out and yeah. So yeah, if we're looking into what's currently happening, this is to respond to Emmanuel last time about the roadmap, and the current integrations roadmap is like this. Currently, we are still working on the Lumico reefer integration, which is a hardware integration, and currently in the testing phase. We have finished the firmware development and basically are waiting for the Lumico to set up the reefer units and do the tests properly. Meanwhile, we are also doing the I'm not really sure on how to pronounce it, but it's a Polish customs system which requires the transport companies to provide position information for transporting several types of goods, and there are very huge fines for violating the rules, and they have a free mobile application for providing the positions of the trucks. But we have heard from a lot of customers that the situation is that the application is not working, and as soon as you get on the road without the positions for an hour or half an hour, you get a fine for something like 3,000 euros or something. So yeah, we are building this integration to solve that problem for the customers. Then we're also currently trying to integrate against the Bulgarian toll road system, which is a distance-based toll road system, which means that we report the positions to the Bulgarian tolling authority, and the toll tickets are bought automatically. We have the same solution for Hungary, and we see that it's helping the customers quite a lot in terms of avoiding driver mistakes, just because there are two types of tickets. One ticket is that you enter the Hungary and then you buy a paper ticket with a specific route that you will make, and if the driver misses an exit on the road, then you probably will get the fine for not paying for the road. And Bulgaria has done the same thing regarding their roads, and currently we are doing the integration. Then we are also extending the feature set supported on the platform for the Quecklink devices. So if some of you are using the Quecklink devices, then that's good news for you. We're also integrating a new hardware device, Falcom, for the partners in the Middle East. So that's work in progress. And currently we are in research phase of doing the EBS integration for understanding on what type of data should be provided for the customers and what problems would it solve. Then also we are more or less, I would say, in a frozen state with the TPMS, tire pressure management system. The hardware integration from several hardware units is available. I mean, like the Teltonika has an integration with the Continental TPMS, and Ruptela also has integration with the TPMS system of Continental. And the tricky part is that we are still missing the software part, and we are trying to understand when can we put that in the schedule. And then as for the software integrations, we're currently finishing up with Securitas, which is a security company, and I would say it's pan-European, and we will have the integration ready, and probably that would open some doors for some of the partners where the Securitas is actually a market player. So yeah, then quickly about some of the case studies, and I see that there is some discussion going on in the chat. I think that we can definitely return to that on the Q&A part and discuss that in more detail. So yeah, regarding the case studies, probably most of you know our success case with Crace, which is a transport and logistics company from Latvia. And one of the reasons why we are so successful with them, and they are still our customers after so many years, is the fact that we have very deeply integrated them against the Mapon platform. So they are using Mapon expert units, and they were the reason why we actually integrated the reefer units, and they were the reason why we actually did the digital tachograph data download integration. And despite the fact that some of the competition is currently providing that integration, it's still very much tied they're very much tied with Mapon, just because they cannot migrate the expert units to any other platform, just because the expert unit protocol is closed and not really revealed. And then apart from hardware integration, we have also done quite a lot of integrations to support their business processes. For example, they are a logistics company which is transporting temperature sensitive goods, and we have set up pretty complex temperature deviation alerting that we are sending events to their system when the temperature is going out of range. And then they can easily keep track of which driver is driving that vehicle. They call the driver to check up the cargo and do all of the stuff to reduce the risks of spoiled cargo. And before we did the integration, they said that pretty often it was the case that they were having an issue with the drivers, that instead of 6 degrees, they put -6 degrees for the cargo, and as soon as you do that, it's a spoiled cargo. Then of course there is fuel theft alerts and geofence alerts on returning to the base or entering some specific geo zone, where they do provide some instructions for the drivers. For example, if they are I don't remember really the country, but the idea was that if you are passing some specific country, then you should fill up your vehicle up to the full fuel tank. This is achieved by the fact that we are providing them information on when the vehicle is entering some specific country, and then they are processing the event and sending SMS to the driver so that the driver knows that he should fill up the vehicle up to the maximum. Then, of course, the toll road payments in Hungary, remaining driving times, estimation for the next-gen route planning solution, and also analysis of the tachograph files. And if you see this this list and try to calculate on how much would it cost for some competitor to do all of this stuff for Crace, then it's a ton of money, and this is the reason why they can't actually migrate away from us. And this is one of the reasons why it's actually important to try and integrate with the customer systems. So if you are the one who is in the position that you have the integration, then it will be very, very hard for the competitors to kick you out of the deal. And this is where we actually get to the elimination of the competition, and according to our experience, we see that there's quite a few of the cases where it's certain that somebody will be eliminated just because of the tender requirements. For example, just today we were reading tender from the State Revenue Service of Latvia, and they have put a rule that the requirement is that you have to integrate against their own internal system, which supports Teltonika Codec 8 protocol, which means that if you are not using Teltonika devices for the tender, then you are basically out of the tender, just because then you have so many expenses that you have to convert the data of your tracking units to Teltonika protocol, that you're losing so much money that you cannot afford to compete with the price. Then again, a tender in Latvia where we had a road maintenance company tender, and they put in the tender that these units on vehicles on the road which are doing the road maintenance should be integrated against, and this is something that the previous company who is providing the service has done, and for each and every new company who is willing to enter the tender, they have to do the same integration, which is again either costly, either impossible, just because some of the information is missing. Then we see also that there are cases where in the tender you put the fact that the platform should be compatible with our existing tracking units, and that's pretty complicated, just because at times it could be the case that you don't have information on how to actually integrate them. And why I'm talking about this is the fact that this could be when somebody is playing around like against you, and this could be the strategy that you can also use in order to protect your positions. For example, we have a tender won in Latvia with the Riga Municipality Police, where we integrated Motorola radios for the police officers who are not really driving the vehicles, but who are either on or their own foot, or riding bicycles or something. And none of the competition in Latvia has that integration, and that's the reason why we win the tender again and again. And if you're looking into competition on why don't they have the integration, that's the reason, because if you're looking at from the fresh start, there's a very, very big cost involved in building the integration. But if you are already having this integration, it's no cost or almost no cost for maintenance of it. And then again, integrating against some IT system, that's more or less the same first case where company or somebody is telling you that, hey, if you are willing to participate in this deal, then you must have this integration, and this is a roadblock if you don't have it. Okay, we are slowly getting to the end, and this is, I would say, my favorite part, just because I'm so many times involved in integrations that it's usually it sounds easy. Hey, can we integrate these two systems? Can we send this data over to that system? And it's pretty straightforward from the surface. But when we get down to the details, the devil is actually in the details, and usually it's the case that there's lack of documentation. The documentation isn't always true, and we see that over and over again. Depending on the manufacturer or the other party, the quality of the documentation could also be very, very low. At times we have seen situations that the documentation is not available in English. That's where we come into language barriers. For example, in some cases when we had to do integrations in Finland, where we have a branch now, we had to read documentation in Finnish language, use Google Translate for that, and it's very, very hard to understand whether you are actually understanding the things that should be done in the documentation. And usually doing integrations means going down the rabbit hole, and after each of the turns of the hole, you are experiencing more and more problems, and they are piling up and things like that. So if somebody tells you that the integration will take 1 day, then most likely it will take 1 week. If somebody is talking about integration doing in a week, then most likely it will be 2 months or something. Just because initially, when everything looks very, very easy, you understand more as you go, and that's from our experience very much true. Lack of technical knowledge, resources on the client side, that's very typical, just because usually the customers that are asking for integrations not necessarily have their own IT team or their own development team, and cannot really understand on the questions that you are asking them. And if there is a customer or a partner with I would say good technical team and development inside, then usually the lack of documentation or things like that are I would say outweighed by the fact that they have the resources and can actually help. And in cases when there is a competent person on the other side, it's very easy to proceed with the integration. And of course, the last one is the fact that at times somebody might be interested in actually blocking the integration attempts due to the business reasons, and we see that over and over again. That's probably a good example for that is a Thermo King integration, where we have done the integration for Crace, and in order to receive the protocols and things like that, we had to sign a license agreement that clearly says that we cannot cannot use the integration for any other customer than Crace, and this is again like their own business interests. They have their own telematics system, and they are actively pushing that to the market, and that's why they are blocking the competition out in that way. We are not really willing to make these events as presentations. I mean, like one of the things that's important for us is also you sharing information between each other and benefiting from it. And so the next meeting we're planning around in 1 month's time, just like the previous time. This time it's something around the 16th of July. I know it's summer season and vacation season, but still we are we're in the business, and if somebody will miss that, probably they will have a good time on vacation. But yeah, the idea is to concentrate the next meetup on the sales and marketing topic, so that we don't dive too technically into the stuff, And most likely the next event then will be led by Andres, hopefully. Probably Cynthia will also join with some of the topics, and yeah. So if nobody is willing to discuss anything, then we can call it today, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good one, guys. Looking forward to the next one as well. I have some other questions with regards to the integration case studies, but hopefully I'll get to English regarding those later.
Yep. So yeah, this time I felt it's important also to explain some of the basics regarding the integrations as well, just to get everybody on the same level, and it will be definitely easier for us afterwards when we are talking about the integrations, if you are at least at this level of knowledge about the integrations. So yeah, thank you for attending.